My friends, for a long time, I have been trying to use the law to care for the law of life. I use the law to compel people in authority to care for the law of life. But more than that, I try to tell a story. And these are some of the stories I can share with you now. Look at this. These are war stories, legal war stories. So look at that. On the right side, you'll see the group of islands called the Philippines. There, you will see that, near the Pacific Ocean. It is one of the mega diversity countries in the world. There are about 18 countries in the world, 18 countries in the world, that hold almost all of the biological wealth on Earth. And one of them is that group of islands called the Philippines. It is so wonderful that in a book, this is a page out of that book, it says that it is reasonable to think of the Philippines as the Galapagos Islands multiplied tenfold. And that was not a Filipino talking. It was someone from the Chicago Museum of Natural History. But look at this, my friends. This is how the Philippines looked like only 100 years old. It was so green and so living. But because of this economic mindset of taking and using and wasting, the paradigm of extraction and consumption, ex-con, also known as ex-convict, convicted of the crime of waste. My friends, look at that. Using that economic mindset, you take out all those trees there, and then you ship it to abroad, and you ship it abroad, and then a few people in the government, a few people in the Philippines make money, a lot of money. But using that mindset, look at what happened less than 100 years later. Wow, almost nothing was left. So I decided to tell a little story. Because I am not really a lawyer, I am only a simple storyteller. Words are my paintbrushes. Law is the medium, and maybe the courtroom is the canvas of the art of storytelling. This is what happened then. Less than 1 million hectares was left in the Philippines, and government granted 92 logging companies covering an area of 4 million hectares. 5 times more than what was available. So we decided to tell a story. And the story was not told by me. It was told by young people around the Philippines who we gathered and whose parents agreed to name the case in behalf of them, of their generation, and of future generations. So the children, acting on their own behalf, filed a class suit to stop all logging in the Philippines. Well, for those of you who know the law, how technical people can be in the law, so the children were questioned. Did they have the legal personality? Did they and future generations have the legal personality to sue and file a case in a court of law? So that the case was dismissed in the lower court, and the petitioners, the children, who would not have water to drink when their time comes if we continue wasting our forests, they went on appeal to the Supreme Court, where the question of whether or not they had the right in behalf of themselves and on behalf of future generations, do they have the right to sue? The court said that their personality to sue, their legal personality to sue in behalf of succeeding generations can be based on the concept of intergenerational responsibility. What's that? That's a long word. The question arose that the rights to the environment is not in the Bill of Rights, and it's only in the state policies. And the Supreme Court said that if these rights to healthy environment of the people, if they are now specially mentioned in the fundamental law of the land, the Constitution, it is because unless it is written in the Constitution itself. May I ask you all to please read this with me aloud. The day would not be too far when all else would be lost, not only for this generation, but also for succeeding generations. Generations which stand to inherit nothing but a parched earth incapable of sustaining life. My friends, that was almost 30 years ago. And what that decision said 30 years ago is now happening. The earth is becoming a parched piece of land that is becoming incapable of sustaining life. But in between, the good Secretary Facturan canceled all the logging in the old growth forests. So we got lucky there. And it took another generation in 2012 for people to listen, and logging is being banned in the Philippines. Well, whether or not it made a difference, it's all we did was really to tell the story that our children and future generations have a right to drink water, to breathe air, and to eat food. They call that intergenerational responsibility. So, my friends, let me share with you another story. You know, there was a study conducted around the world whereas the richest marine waters in seaweeds, corals, bivalves, gastropods in the world, a big volume, 3-volume, 6-volume book. And they said, oh, it was in the coral triangle of influence. Somewhere there, part of that is the Philippines, Malaysia, all the way even to the Solomon Islands and Vanuatu. And then the Indo-Malay Philippine Archipelago is the center of marine wealth on Earth. And then further studies by international experts learned that the Philippines is the center of marine biodiversity on Earth. If you see that map, at the top of that map, there is a little place there called, looking like a bay, an enclosed area. That is Manila Bay. Then, it was so beautiful, it is supposedly the apex of the richest marine waters on Earth. Yet, what were we doing with it? We were dumping 60 million liters of raw and untreated sewage every day into Manila Bay. So it was time to tell a story. A case was filed against 13 government agencies. And after 10 years of legal battle, finally, the petitioners, concerned residents of Manila Bay, including the oysters and the mussels, court finally ordered that to make Manila Bay swimmable again. All the way to the Supreme Court. 10 years. Government agencies were also requested to report every 3 months to the Supreme Court on the progress of their efforts.